Hello, thank you for joining us. I am Gina Ganskop, the Education Director here at the Penobscot Marine Museum. Today's Junior Adventurers program will have some cool facts, pictures, and a song. I want to give a big thank you to our members and those of you who choose to donate to support our programming at the Penobscot Marine Museum. More information about upcoming speakers, membership, and donating can be found on our website and our Facebook page. This programming has been made possible in part by the National Endowment for the Humanities, Exploring the Human Endeavor. Please ask us questions below and share your comments by posting below. Today, we are going to learn about a sailor's life in the 1800s. I will share some pictures, we will look at a model, and at the end, we will watch a puppet show to a song that describes parts of sailors' lives. So let's start with the people on board a sailing vessel. Do you know what the person in charge is called? If you said captain, you are right. Let me show you a picture. So in this picture, here is a picture of Captain Adelberty Montgomery and a crew member known as Wheatley. And if you see this white stuff in front of them, that is a sail, and they are working on repairing the sails. Sewing skills were vital on board a sailing vessel, and this photo was taken on board the bark CARRIE WINSLOW in 1892. Next, you have the mate, who is sometimes called the first mate or chief mate. The mate supervised day-to-day ship operations. At sea, he was in charge of the port watch, and he had general charge of the ship if the captain was below. He kept the logbook and took navigational sights with the captain. And you have the second mate. He was in charge of the starboard watch. As an officer, he oversaw the seamen who steered the ship on his watch. The second mate also managed food supplies and checked on the condition of stored food. Another important person was the cook. The cook baked bread and made meals for the captain's cabin and for the crew. He had a long day of work, so did not stand watches. On fishing schooners, the cook was sometimes second in importance only to the captain. The steward was in charge of the captain's cabin and managing provisions. On a large ship, he oversaw the cook's work. If the captain's family was aboard, sometimes there was a stewardess, occasionally the wife of the steward. In the late 19th century, the steward was often from China or India. And let's look at another picture. Okay, so seamen operated and maintained the ship. Those signing on for the first or second time were ordinary seamen, and those with more experience were able-bodied seamen. Maine's maritime communities often supplied crew for schooners carrying Maine cargoes to other East Coast ports. Bigger ships sailing from cities such as Boston or New York had crews from all over the world, including Northern Europe, the West Indies, and China. Here, the crew is hoisting a sail on the bark CARRIE WINSLOW. And we'll zoom in a little bit and get a better look. You see these three guys are on this line. And then there's actually three guys on this line too, and two of them are basically on the deck. This guy's a little bit higher. And one more. There you go. It's a pretty cool view of the deck of the CARRIE WINSLOW. What do you see happening over here at this end? Somebody was doing their laundry and has it out to dry. A shirt and a pair of pants are hanging up on that line. On larger ships, the bosun was in charge of maintenance. Under direct supervision by the first mate, the bosun kept an eye on the condition of the hull and the rigging. He led work such as painting, repairing, replacing, or splicing lines, making sure shackles were in good shape, and maintaining mechanical equipment such as the capstan. So there's always constant work happening on board the ship. Some larger square rig vessels also carried a carpenter who was in charge of maintaining all wooden structures, including the ship's boats. And you can see the ship's boats in this picture. There's one right there and one over here. And the carpenter, and then the sailmaker, some ships also had a sailmaker, and sails often required repairs, and sometimes the crew, under the sailmaker's direction, made new sails from canvas carried aboard. A square rigger usually had 2 suits of sails, an older one used in light winds and a newer one used for heavy weather sailing. And we saw in that other picture, the captain also would work on the sails. Let's look at some more pictures of the crew. This one's a pretty cool picture. All right, let's start down here on the deck. We have this one crew member right here. And then we go up. There is a crew member climbing into the rigging. And there's another one climbing aloft. And there's actually one more climbing aloft right there. And if we follow this yard out, we see that there is a member of the crew that is out on the yard. And what they're doing, it looks like, is they are bending this sail, or they're attaching this sail that's kind of this white stuff piled up here. They're attaching that to the yard. And this one's also a picture of the CARRIE WINSLOW, the same ship we've been looking at. This is kind of an interesting picture of the crew of the Benjamin Packard. And when we zoom in, we can see them a little bit better. And this guy is wearing an apron, so he might be the cook, or more likely maybe he's the steward. And another kind of cool thing about this picture is the capstan in the middle of it. And if you visited our campus during the summer, you know, we have a working campus on our campus, or a working capstan on our campus as well. And when you visit during a normal summer, you get to actually try it out and see how it works. Okay, I have one more image, and this is actually a painting. It's an oil painting of the Yankee Clipper made by Philip von Salza. And we can see these men that are up aloft, and they are doing some work with the sail. Looks like maybe they're furling the sail. And you can see there's many men on each yard. It took a lot of hands to raise up that sail. That sail was huge and it was very heavy. The life of a sailor could be pretty tough and pretty dangerous. They were constantly working. They were constantly working in conditions that could have been difficult to work in, because if it's raining or windy, it could be slippery and hard to go aloft or even walk around on the deck. And you were sailing no matter the weather. So it might be really cold, it might be really hot, there might be a storm coming in. So what was the day-to-day life like on board a sailing vessel? The 24 hours was split into watches. And here we have kind of a diagram that defines the different watches. So we have first watch from 8 p.m. till 12. We have the mid watch from 12 a.m. or midnight to 4 a.m. We have the second, or the morning watch, from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and the forenoon watch from 8 a.m. to noon. The afternoon watch from 12 noon till 4 p.m. And then the first dog watch was from 4 p.m. till 6 p.m., all hands on deck. And then the second dog watch was 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. to change watches. And so the first watch is called the port watch, and it was in charge of the first mate, and the second mate's is called the starboard watch. And supper was served to the off watch towards 6, and then at 6, the off-going watch ate, with the new watch taking over the ship. And so half of the crew would work one watch, and then they would alternate watches. breaking 1 4-hour watch period in half, which is the dog watch. So how did they know how long the watches were, where they were in a dog watch? They actually kept time using a sand glass. The sand glass would have been a ½ hour long. And so I have a little tiny example here, and you might have used one of these when you're playing a board game and you watch the sand go down. And so the glasses they would have used on board ship would have been a ½ hour long, and every ½ hour when the sand ran out, then you would turn it over for the next ½ hour. And then you would mark, wait, I have a picture, another picture for you. Let's do that. This is actually an example from our collection. So that's kind of cool. And so this is a wood framed hourglass sand glass. And this one actually measures 28 seconds and would have been used to help measure the speed. But it's the same idea. This is the kind of what it kind of would have looked like for the ½ hour glass that helped measure the watch. So, and a ship's clock later did these functions, and it rang 8 bells at the change of the watch. It then rang 1 bell for each ½ hour after that, but in pairs. For example, at 2:30, 5 bells would sound. So it would go ding, 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 ding. I'm going to show you our model again. So we've kind of looked at this before, but this is a model from our education collection, so we're able to kind of use it. So some of the basics about the parts of the ship. We know that like this is the hull, and you know what these wooden parts going up and down are called? Those are the masts. And then these things are called what? Right, these are the sails. And so this part here is the deck of the ship. And the deck actually has a couple different names. Kind of the lowest part here is called the main deck. And then as it goes up, it goes up right there. It's hard to see, but there's some stairs right there. So the first level up would be the quarter deck, and then the next level up would be the poop deck. One more little bit of vocabulary. Let me share the screen one more time. Okay. So a few more vocabulary words. The weather or windward side is the side from which the wind is blowing. So if you're facing the windward side, you're facing the wind. So here's a diagram. This is the weather or windward side because the wind is coming at it. And the opposite side is the lee side. And if you're facing the lee side, then you're facing away from the wind, or your back is to the wind. We've learned a lot about the sailor's life, and I'm going to play a song for you that uses all of these terms we've been talking about. But before we do that, I will teach you the chorus so you can join in. So the chorus goes, strike the bell, second mate, let us go below. Look you well to windward, you can see it's going to blow. Look at the glass, you can see that it has fell, and we wish that you would hurry up and strike the bell. So let's review what the chorus is talking about. What does strike the bell refer to? So at the end of the watch, and the sailors want to go below deck and sleep, and so they're waiting for the second mate to strike the bell. And which direction is windward? Right, so that's into the wind, and it's going to blow suggests there's a storm coming. And what does glass refer to down here? Do you remember we were talking about this hourglass that was a ½ hour glass on board the ship? And that map marks the ½ hour, and if it has fell, like this one, it did finish falling, then the ½ hour is over, and at the end of the watch, that means the watch is over and it's time to strike the bell so the watch can go below. Do you want to practice the chorus one more time before I play the whole song? Okay. Strike the bell, second mate, let us go below. Look you well to windward, you can see it's going to blow. Look at the glass, you can see that it has fell, and we wish that you would hurry up and strike the bell. Okay, next is the full Strike the Bell song along with a puppet show to illustrate. See if you can hear and see the things we've been talking about today.
Up on the poop deck, walking about, there's the second mate, so steady and so stout. What he is thinking of, he only knows himself. We're wishing he would hurry up and strike the bell. Strike the bell, second mate, and let us go below. Look you well to windward, you can see it's going to blow. Look at the glass, you can see that it has fell, and we wish that you would hurry up and strike the bell. Down on the main deck and working at the pumps, there's the starboard watch, a-longing for their bunks. Look out to windward, they can see a mighty swell. They're wishing that the second mate would strike the bell. Strike the bell, second mate, and let us go below. Look you well to windward, you can see it's going to blow. Look at the glass, you can see that it has fell, and we wish that you would hurry up and strike the bell. Aft at the wheel, poor Anderson stands, grasping at the spokes with his cold mittened hands. Looks at his compass and his course is sure and well. He's wishing that the second mate would strike the bell. Strike the bell, second mate, and let us go below. Look you well to windward, you can see it's going to blow. Look at the glass, you can see that it has fell, and we wish that you would hurry up and strike the bell. Up on the quarterdeck, our gallant captain stands, looking out to sea with a spyglass in his hands. What he is thinking of, we all know very well. He's thinking more of shortening sail than striking the bell. Strike the bell, second mate, and let us go below. Look you well to windward, you can see it's going to blow. Look at the glass, you can see that it has fell, and we wish that you would hurry up and strike the bell.
Thanks, Gina. Zipperly says it's one of her favorite sea shanties.
It's one of mine too. It's a fun story. So did you hear the verse about the captain's spyglass? What is a spyglass? A spyglass has lenses that magnify and was used to see things far away, like approaching ships or bad weather. And I have an example right here. I will post a coloring page of a sailing vessel below so you can print it out and color it. And don't forget the captain and the crew. And thank you for joining me today for Junior Adventurers. I really appreciate you joining. And this is our last Junior Adventurers program for this summer, but I do hope to see you next summer when we do this again. So thank you very much and have a great day.